Meetup games are always a fun time, lots of splashy players, people trying to make the vlog, and I tend to loosen up a little bit too. This vlog is no different. We're into the 1-3 for $1,000, and first hand of the night, I open it up with the ladies from the +2 position. John in the low jack and Jackie from the cutoff both put in the call. No one decides to 3-bet me. I would have put in the 4-bet. Instead, we're off to a flop which comes ace 3 deuce rainbow. Not exactly the board you want to see when you have pocket queen, so I start with a check. John and Jackie both check behind, and we see the 3 of hearts peel off on the turn. I think it's possible that one of these players could be slow playing an ace. However, they also could just have some random assortment of hands like pocket 7s, 6s, maybe a hand with a deuce in it. Who knows? It's a meetup game. So I'm going to go for value and try to target all the worst hands. I bet out for $30. John disappears like a thief in the night, and Jackie puts in the call. He doesn't believe me, and we see a board pairing ace on the river. It's actually a pretty great card for pocket queens because it makes it less likely that I do have an ace, and Jackie's a good player, he'll know that. Additionally, with queens here, if I go for a bet, Jackie might think that I'm bluffing and call me off with worse, so I decide to go for a second street of value and bet out into Jackie once again. $40 was not large enough. He snap calls me. I probably could have gone up to 75 or 100. Who knows? I turn over the ladies, and he mucks his cards face down. One pot coming over to the good guys. This next hand's a fun one. We play against Andrew Voden. If you guys haven't followed him already on YouTube, super cool guy and took me out to a Houston steakhouse before this. So shout out to Andrew. He paid for my dinner there, and let's see if I can get some more chips from him here. He has 900 in his stack, and I have him covered. That sets up nicely for a 2K pot. I raise it up with ace-10 offsuit from the small blind, and Andrew and the other villain in the cutoff both put in the call, and we see an advantageous board for us, which comes ace-9-8 rainbow. When you're out of position in a multi-way pot, you're gonna wanna be doing a lot of checking. Additionally, having the 10 of clubs in my hand is important because I can back into some straights. For instance, if Andrew or the villain somehow have pocket 9s or pocket 8s, I could back into the 7-6, giving me essentially the nut straight here. But given the fact that I'm out of position against 2 opponents, I start with a check. The villain in the cutoff checks as well, and Andrew is a smart, aggressive player. He decides to bet out for $30 in the actions over to me. Check raising here makes some sense at a small frequency, and also calling is probably the best play in the long run, so I decide to call, and we see the turn card, which comes the 3 of spades. It doesn't improve me to any backdoor straight ideas, so I check it over to Andrew once again. If he decides to go for a half pot size bet or even larger, I'm going to be calling, but he's smart and checks behind, which pretty much seals the deal in my head that he does not have an ace, and we do in fact have the best hand. When the river card now comes the 7 of clubs, the action's on me. I think I need to go for a bet here when he checks back on the turn, and that's what I decide to do. I turn over the 10 of clubs to be funny and bet out for $50, just trying to get value from any worse ace, or maybe a hand like 9-10 or 8-10. After a little bit of thinking, Andrew decides to pay me off. We're scooping in this nearly $250 pot. I show the ace, and he mucks his cards. Let's go.
Why would you check the flop? To trap you. Duh.
All right, moving right along into the next hand, I have 1,200 in my stack from the cutoff, and I decide to raise it up to $20 with ace-7 offsuit. Jackie and John once again both put in the call. The 3 amigos here going off to a flop, which comes queen, jack, 10, all hearts. I check my cards again, and I do in fact have the 7 of hearts. Would have much preferred to see the ace of hearts there, but still, a heart in the hand is pretty good. It's like a bird in the bush, or whatever that saying is. Who knows? The action checks around on the flop, and we make a pair. The 7 of spades peels off on the turn. Jackie checks it over to me for a second time, and let's just bet out small here and try to get them to fold. It's possible one of them has a 10 in their hand, and I can get him to fold with 3 hearts out here. So I decided to bet out for $20, but John gets a little sticky here and puts in the call. Bye-bye, Jackie. He's out like a light, and we see the 8 of clubs peel off on the river. I'm first to act here, and do we continue along this line of bluffing, or do we check it over to John? Well, I didn't drive all the way down to Houston not to try to get a bluff through on our buddy John here in that salmon-colored hoodie. I decided to bet out for $90, and he makes a very quick fold. It's possible he did in fact have the best hand. We'll never know, but I turn over the ace-7, and it looks like from that reaction...
Oh, no! Oh, no!
we did in fact have the best hand. Better luck next time, John. I usually stay an hour and a half at each table. The first table is up. We're on to the second one. First hand here at the second table, we're going to battle with our buddy Trevor on our left. I put in a blind raise to $12. Unfortunately, you can't straddle here, but that's not going to stop me from blind raising it up to 12 bones. Trevor decides to 3-bet me to $40. Pretty smart decision by him. And I'm going to defend here with the suited ace, and we are going heads up, out of position to a flop, which is pretty good for us. Ace 6-6 rainbow. Obviously, I'm checking over to Trevor, and obviously he's going to bet this board. It's pretty dry. He's going to have all the strong ace-x combos like ace-king, ace-queen when I don't decide to re-raise him pre-flop, so he's going to bet this at a large frequency, and I put in the easy call. Off to the turn, which comes the 4 of clubs, bringing in the backdoor club draw. I check it over to Trevor once again, and now we decide to size up to around 2/3 the size of the pot, $100 into 140 in the middle, and I'm not going anywhere with my suited ace once again. I have 2 pair. I put in the call, and we're off to the river. The river now brings in the backdoor flush draw, and it also brings in some straights. We do have the 8 of spades in my hand, which blocks some of those, but I don't expect Trevor to have 7-8 in this spot, so it's pretty irrelevant at this point. I check it over to him once again, and he decides, after some thinking, not to fire through on the river. I told him it might have worked if he did, but we're going to scoop in this pot when he checks behind. $340 coming my way. 2 pair takes the cake.
Oh, you pretty much have the same one.
I know.
All right, this is the hand of the night. So if you guys are new here, be sure to subscribe if you are new. Like this video and leave a comment down below letting my editor Lucas know how good these graphics are. Buckle your seatbelts. This one is going to get interesting. 5-4 of hearts, and we decide to raise it up to $20. That is the least interesting part of this hand. 5-4 of hearts. We got to mix that into our cutoff raising range from time to time. And Andy here, he hit me up in the Instagram DM saying he was going to come out. And look at that picture, man. What a haircut. He got his haircut the night before. He's ready to battle. 690 in the stack. It's all working for him so far, and he decides to 3-bet me to $75. Great decision by him. I'm going to be opening up light from the cutoff, but when I'm opening up 5-4 of hearts, you'd be foolish to think that I'm going to fold it. I put in the call, and we are going to defend this one. Off heads up to a flop, which comes Jack 10-3 with 2 spades. Interestingly enough, Andy decides to slow down here and check. I would have expected him to just keep blasting off into me here, but when he checks 5 high here, I'm not going to try to bluff off into him, and I check it behind, and we see a great turn card, the deuce of hearts. A great turn card because I do in fact pick up that open-ended straight draw. Any ace, any 6 gives me the straight, and it's going to be pretty sneaky too. I don't think he can put me on a hand like 5-4 suited. And when he checks that flop and we get through to the turn, he decides to pick it up here and bet out for $55. It's around the 1/3 the size of the pot, and usually when people bet kind of small, I don't really give him too much credit. He could have a pair here, he could have a weak jack, maybe a weak 10, maybe a flush draw. Either way though, my 5 high here is not just a call. I mean, occasionally you could be calling, but the more aggressive, more preferred route, especially at these meetup games, got to put the pressure on the opponents, and I decide to re-raise. Yes, I'm going to raise it up to $165. The logic is here, if I just call and miss the river, he can bet again, and I'm going to have to fold. The bright side is, if I raise and he folds a hand like a jack or a 10, that'd be a huge win. Even ace-high folds would be a win as well. So yeah, raise and a fold would be awesome, but if he calls, I can blast the river and probably get him to fold all the hands I just mentioned. He is not scared of this raise one bit. After checking his cards, he decides to put in some more green chips. That is a call, and we are off to the river. I told you this hand was a fun one. And what do you guys think is going to come on this river? Oh, none other than the 6 of hearts. Bang! We river the straight. Disguised AF. I mean, this is the beautiful river that we hoped and dreamed to see. Andy, of course, checks it over to me. I mean, I don't expect him to lead out into me. 490 in the middle, and I decide to go all in for $450 effective, aka everything that Andy has in his stack. Because it's a meetup game and because Andy is a cool guy, I decide to show him the 4 of hearts. Yes, I show him the 4 of hearts. I don't know if that's the best play in the long run, but if people are coming out to make the vlog and meet me and take pictures and stuff, the least I can do is in these huge pots, show people some cards. You saw I did that earlier with Andrew. Now I'm going to do it with Andy. And if you guys come out to a future meetup game, expect the same to follow. After an insanely long tank by Andy, he's trying to blow through my entire storage on my iPhone. He decides ultimately to put in the call, saying he's going to call me with ace high and try to make the vlog. I turn over the 5 of hearts, aka the goods, and he has those sunglasses, but his future is not looking too bright in this hand. He mucks his cards, and we are taking down that $1,400 pot. Quick side note, I want to say a huge shout out to Andy. It takes a lot of courage to be on the vlog and try to call with ace high. So I definitely appreciate you coming out here and donating to the vlog, man. What a hand, what a hand. 5-4 of hearts, gonna take in that massive, massive pot. All right, the $6 button straddle's on in this one. I look down at 7-4 of diamonds from the small blind. After Eddie raises it up to $25, I decide to put in the call, and we are going heads up out of position to a flop, which gives us the flush draw 10-9-6 with 2 diamonds. Additional to our flush draw, any 8 would give me a straight. We could also back into some other straight ideas. I decide to check dark, and Eddie checks behind, bringing in the board pairing 6 of spades. Given the fact that I have 7 high, I want to get a lot of his king, queen, and ace high hands to fold, so I bet out for $30 into the $84 pot. I think I'm going to get a lot of folds from those hands, and that'd be a big mistake from him. Luckily for him, he puts in the call. Let's see what the river card brings in. It's not a diamond, but it gives me the 4 of spades, aka a pair. With some showdown value now, I decide to check it over to Eddie. He decides to check behind, so it's possible he has ace or king high in this spot. I let him know that I rivered a pair, and that's good enough to scoop in this $144 pot. Our second table has come to an end. We rack up our chips and head over to the third one.
Raise it up, raise it up.
Shahid, the man of the hour.
Boom.
He's like, man, if I buy you a shot, I'm in the video. Here, Wolfgang Poker, we accept bribes. Shahid, thanks for the bribe, man.
Yeah, absolutely.
You've made the
Have
vlog.
a great night. Welcome to Houston.
Thank you, man. All right, this third table was by far the rowdiest run. We already consumed a shot, and that's going to influence the way we play at this table. I look down at king 10 offsuit from the +2 position, and Adam on my right decides to raise it up to $15. I'm going to come in for a 3-bet. I get spicy here with the king 10 offsuit, and I make it 45 bones, and a villain on the button who does not want to make the vlog, go figure, he decides to jam all in for $100. When Adam gets out of the way, I didn't raise it up to 45 to fold for an additional $55, so I know my hand probably isn't good in this spot, but I put in the call, given some pot odds and another hand for the vlog. Why not? I put in the call, and we are going off to a run out. We turn our hands over. He does in fact have the ladies, so he is a 71% favorite to win this one. We decided to run the flop once, but the turn and river twice. A little confusing, I know, but the flop comes 7-3 deuce, no help for us. The turn and river on both of the other runouts are no good for us as well. Coincidentally, they all come diamonds. Just like that, he locks up that $219 pot. All right, ace-jack offsuit here from the low jack, and I raise it up to $30. Shahid in the big blind puts in the call. That means we are heads up to a flop, which comes 10-4-4 with 2 spades. After he checks it over to me, I don't think this is a board that connects too well with my pre-flop raising range. It is dry though, so I could go for a bet. I look to mix it up here and check behind, and we see a board pairing 10 of spades on the turn. Good card because in case he has pocket 3s or pocket deuces, I now counterfeit that with my ace high. He checks it over to me, and I decide to go out for a bet. I'm looking to get value from any king high with a flush draw, queen high, stuff like that. I bet out for $20, and he decides to put in the call. The river card now comes as 6 of clubs, and he checks it over to me once again. For a second, I think about bluffing, but I think Shahid might have a sneaky hand here a good portion of the time. I check behind, and he does in fact have my favorite hand, pocket 7s, and he's going to take down that $100 pot. I think if I bluff there on the river, he pretty much snap calls me, so I save some money, approximately $50 to $75. But let's see if we can battle with him in a future hand here.
That's good, that's good.
Oh. Holy shit, I took a pot of Wolfgang. Are you going to put me
There you go, there you go. I'm falling for it.
I said future hand, it's the very next one, and Shahid's face pops up once again. We're going to battle here. I look down at king 10 offsuit, and I decide to call a raise out of the small blind. Not exactly the best play in the long run, but in a meetup game, calling out of the small blind here against Shahid. I show seat 1 my cards. Another fun thing that we do at meetup games. It's a pretty relaxed environment, basically a home game. And after showing him the cards, the flop comes jack 10 deuce rainbow. I check it over to Shahid, and he bets out for $20. I'm not going anywhere with my middle pair and backdoor straight ideas. I put in the call, leading us off to the turn. The turn comes as 6 of spades, and I check it over to Shahid once again, who does not slow down. He bets out for $40 now. It's not too large of a bet, so I think I'm pretty much beat in this spot. But he has some more money behind, and I kind of want to stack him. I mean, look at that face in that picture, man. Who wouldn't want to stack good old Shahid from the low jack? I put in the call here, basically lighting money on fire unless I see a 10 or a king. And we do not get such things. The river card comes the 9 of diamonds. I check it over to him once again, and he surprisingly checks behind with the ladies. That hand is good. Nice hand, sir. $200 coming your way, but a 10 or a king, I lead out there. He calls. That would have been a beautiful sight. We now move on back over to the first table, but at this point, a lot of the characters have changed. This time we're going to battle with Warren from the under the gun position. He raises it up to $20. Of course, ace-jack suited from the +1 position is a great hand. We need to be 3-betting this, and I decide to make it $55. Everyone else gets out of the way. Warren decides to put in the call. That means we are heads up in position to a flop, which comes 7-5-5 with 2 spades. Warren checks it over to me. I go for a standard c-bet of 1/3, aka $35, and he doesn't think about it for too long before putting in the call. At this point, I think he could be calling with any of those spade flush draws, maybe a hand like ace king, ace queen that didn't decide to 4-bet me pre-flop, and then he's gonna have a lot of pocket pairs like 9s, 8s, 6s, stuff like that. Either way, we are off to the turn, which is a pretty great card. Comes a 7 of clubs. It's a great card in the sense that I pick up the backdoor flush draw. I could also hit an ace or a jack on the river, but if he does have a 7 or 5, I'm drawing dead to any of those possibilities, so we have to proceed with some caution. I say that because when he checks it over to me on the turn, I decide not to bluff on the turn and check behind, leading us off to the river. River card is a good card for my range. I'm going to be betting the flop, checking the turn, and getting there on the river with a lot of king x combos. However, in this spot though, he decides to lead out into me. Man, what an interesting spot. He leads out into me for $210. Obviously, I'm doing nothing but folding, but I think if he would have checked it over to me, I would have represented this king and gone for a bluff. So if he has a hand like king queen, king jack, king 10, might have missed a little bit of value there, but I don't blame him for leading out into me. I think that he could get some value if I had a made hand at this point, but unfortunately for him, I have ace-jack suited. I'm going to muck my cards, and this next hand of the night might be the second best one. We are going to battle with him once again. It's only right that we get the suited ace-jack again, this time the diamond variety. We're going to raise up his button straddle all the way to the tune of $30. We're going to get one other player to put in the $30 call. Warren defends his button straddle, and we are going off 3 ways to a flop. If I could handpick any flop in the world, it probably would be something similar to this. King, queen, deuce with 2 diamonds. It's not every day that you flop yourself a royal flush draw. Man, can I get there on the turn of the river? That would be nasty. I'm first to act, and I decide to bet out into the field for $45. I'm not scared of anything in this multi-way pot. If it goes raise and re-raise, I might just jam it all in here with my royal draw. I mean, that would be pretty sick. But yeah, you get the deal. I'm going to bet out into the field for $45, and the villain in middle position puts in the call, leading Warren to call as well from the button. Can we spike a diamond 10 or the 10 of diamonds on the turn? Nope. Instead, it's a green 9, aka the 9 of clubs, and I do not slow down once again. How large would you guys bet here on the turn into the $228 pot? I decided that $175 is the right price to bet. I think I'm going to get called here by a lot of kings, a lot of queen x, some flush draws, although I blocked the best one and then the second best one. For instance, if he had like jack 8 of diamonds or something like that, he can't have it anymore, right? Because I have it in my hand. I bet out for $175. If we get called here, it's going to be a pretty strong range. Middle position folds and Warren's on the button. When I continuation bet on the flop into 2 players, Warren has to know that I have a pretty strong hand. Additionally, when I continue betting on the turn for $175 no less, he has to know that I have a pretty great hand at this point. So when he puts in the $175 on the turn, he either has a very strong draw, to which I say, what draws does he have? Because I have the ace of diamonds in my hand, or he has a very strong made hand. Now I think pocket kings, pocket queens would have re-raised pre-flop, so I can eliminate that from his range. He could have a hand like king queen. He also could have a hand like king jack, king 10, maybe king 9, or even queen 9 in this spot. So pretty strong range here from Warren, and we're going to need a hit on the river, and that's exactly what happens. The 10 of spades, bang, we river the nuts. When you river the nuts, it's usually pretty good to continue betting and getting value. However, that being said, I just narrowed Warren's range down to a very select few hands. A lot of those hands are going to want to bet himself if I check it over to him. And checking over to him kind of looks like I have a missed diamond draw. If he has king queen here, he's going to bet. If he has king 9, he's also going to bet. If he has queen 9, he's also going to bet. And if he has a draw, he's just going to fold if I bet anyways. So I decide to check it over to Warren, looking to go for the check raise, obviously with the nuts. Warren goes into the tank here for around 45 seconds. I'm just staring at the middle card on the board. I'm hoping he goes for a bet around 200, 300 bucks. Then I can make it like 750 to 1,000, really charge all those 2-pair combos, trying to polarize and make it look like a missed diamond draw. But ultimately though, he decides to check behind. I'm frustrated, I turn over the nuts, and he folds his cards, showing the king of spades. What an advanced check back there by Warren. I think a lot of other players are going to be betting that river, and I'd get a little bit more value with a raise. But in the moment, we're only scooping in that $578 pot, which feels kind of like a missed opportunity, but I like my thought process there, going for the check raise. And we're going to drag in that last hand of the night, racking up our chips and exchanging them for some cold, hard cash. Alright, you guys, that wraps up that super fun meetup game. We had 3 tables plus a round by round at our peak. Tons of fun, got in for 1,000, never had to rebuy thanks to all of your donations. Keep them coming, appreciate it. It goes out to you, Andy. Just kidding, man. But yeah, we got in for 1,000, out for 1,764, a profit of 764. And it would have been more if I decided to continue betting on that Royal Flush draw that turned into Broadway. But turns out he was not calling a huge bet there on the river, so maybe checking there would gotten me the most money in the long run. I don't know. Let me know down in the comments how I played that hand. Always fun to have a few drinks with you guys and share some laughs and put you guys in the vlog. If it wasn't for you guys, I wouldn't be in this position. So meetup games are my way of giving back and meeting everybody. It's all really fun going around the country and meeting all you guys. If you guys are new, be sure to subscribe. That way you can be included in the next meetup game when I come to your city. I'm thinking about maybe doing one in Baltimore again, maybe one in Indianapolis, maybe one in Battle Creek, Michigan. Who knows? Coming to a city near you. If you guys are new, subscribe, check out the rest of my videos, and I'll catch you in the next video. Good luck on the felt. Peace. Thanks for watching to the end of my video. Click my head below to subscribe and stay in the loop. See you next time.